Hey guys, Coach Santiago here. Today we're talking to the parents about a very important subject matter as you guys are going forward and looking for coaches for your particular athlete and their relative sport. Now, about 10 or 15 years ago, the event business has exploded on the scene. And so there's a lot more coaches involved in quote unquote elite travel sports or elite club sports. And so what has really ended up happening is there's a lot of imposters out there. As you guys know, my tagline is coaching is an action. It's not a position. And the reason that is so synonymous with my messaging is I take coaching very seriously, and it's not something that I just kind of fell into. And here are some real simple questions I wanted to share with you guys that you might want to ask yourself when you're interviewing your next coach. Number one, how'd they get the job, right? How'd they become a coach? If they're a particular coach of a particular team, ask yourself or ask them that question of how they actually became the head coach, the manager, whatever title your particular sport uses. How did they get that position? Did they simply put their hand up in a meeting when nobody else wanted to coach and say, I want to coach? That's not somebody that I would consider to be a real coach. And not to say that there's not situations out there where people end up coaching and actually become good coaches. But again, today we're talking and we're focusing on how to evaluate, the imposters, the people who are saying, I am a coach, and then the people who are actually real coaches that can make a difference and make an impact. So the first question I would always ask is, how did you get that position? Number two, why are you coaching, right? There are a lot of dads and moms out there that were just the last person to say no. They ended up coaching, and they're coaching because of their kid. And it doesn't make them a bad coach. I know some very, very good coaches that were dads and moms of players in organizations that I've worked with or I've ran myself. But generally speaking, we also want to find out why this person is taking on a job that's very difficult, very emotional, has a lot of ups and downs, and has a tremendous amount of time sacrifice. Why are they doing it? More importantly, what's their agenda? Is their agenda about little Johnny or little Susie? Then you have to know that going into things. You have to know that that's their focus. That's why they're coaching. That's how they got into this. So again, how did you get the job? Which kind of dovetails into my second question of why you're coaching. And so you want to find that out. I use the example of the parents, but you know what? There's some players out there that might be mad at the game because they weren't able to perform at a certain high level, and now they want to coach, and you find yourself sometimes in some situations where you got a former player who's really mad at the game when he coaches that way or she coaches that way. So ask, what's your why? Why are you doing this? What is it that you're looking to accomplish? The third question that I feel is very, very important. Were you mentored, right? I mean, there's a lot of athletes out there that think because they played, they can coach. And I learned very early after my playing career was over in my particular sport that I had to learn a whole new craft. Just because I played the game and went out there and dominated and also failed a ton at my particular position, played on a bunch of teams, that doesn't mean that I was a coach. It doesn't mean that I knew how to coach. I had to learn how to, implement certain things, how to communicate at a high level, how to motivate people. And I got that through mentorship. I always talk about some of my mentors and people that were out there that I was exposed to at a very early age that showed me the craft of coaching, showed me that you have to study, right? What worked last year may not work this year. Are you going to conventions? Are you asking other coaches how they do things, right? So were you mentored is another question I would ask a coach. Because if they just said, yeah, I played and now I'm a coach, there's probably going to be, again, a little bit of an imposter there, because any good coach I know or I respect that we know on TV was mentored by somebody. If you look at the coaches in the NFL, NBA, MLB, generally speaking, were mentored by great coaches. So you have to get those years and months and just get that coaching from somebody else that's done it for a while, in my opinion, to be a superior coach. You just can't roll onto a field and become a great coach. And you also want to ask the last question, which is, how long have you been doing this? Even if you've gotten the mentorship, even if you are not a parent, how many times have you gotten awkward phone calls? How many times have you dealt with certain situations? And you'll find a lot of that by asking simply, how long have they done it? You want to look for some experience. You want to look for somebody that's been in some uncomfortable conversations and uncomfortable situations before, because if not, you may be the guinea pig that ends up going through that experiment of how they're going to deal with the situation that requires a little bit of experience to get through at a high level. So once again, just to review, how did you get the job? Why are you coaching? Right? Were you mentored? And how long have you been doing this? 4 simple but very effective questions you can ask the next time you're going through a club travel experience or anything where you're auditioning for a team and they're offering you a spot and you have an opportunity to interview your coaches. You should always interview your coaches. Coaches can cause a tremendous amount of damage, or they can also make a humongous positive impact. But we have to do our due diligence. We have to ask questions like these. As always, guys, love talking to you. Love sharing these little tidbits of information. If there's anything I can do to help you, please don't hesitate to give me a call or contact me at the information listed on this video. And looking forward to talking to you guys again soon. And remember, coaching is an action, not a position.